Today I'm going to cover a topic which has been shaping my career for the last 15 years. This is all about learning solution design. How do you go about designing a learning solution? What are the various aspects that you need to keep in mind, and what will fulfill the criteria? One of the most important thing is that one needs to understand that learning is different from teaching. Once this understanding is clear, a lot of perspectives can change. So it's not about a learned, knowledgeable faculty who's coming with some good degrees and he coming and lecturing and walking off. Learning has got nothing much to do with the faculty. Learning is largely linked to how much the participant has learned after the program. Now, program or the intervention, whatever. Now, this fundamentally changes the perspective. We can always recall of certain classes where the teacher came, lectured, and we never understood even a bit of what he said. So from a teaching paradigm, that might have been a great teacher sharing great amount of knowledge, but from a learning paradigm, that would be a total failure. Second, let's look at the word solution. As the word solution means, it's like there is nothing like one size fits all in learning. It doesn't work that way. What works is that there might be a need to download some information, but that has to be followed up with individualized attention. So learning is an individualized process. People learn differently. Some people learn by doing, some people learn by experience, some people learn by visiting, some people learn by listening. There can be different ways to learn. Third is design. So therefore the role of the instructional designer or the course designer is to keep all these perspectives in mind and then design a learning solution which is going to meet the objectives or the challenges which have been set forth. Now this is easier said than done. Now so therefore what should the designer be able to do? A designer by definition should be able to do a few things very correct. First, he should understand the task, what we call as classically the task analysis. Again, what a task analysis does is that what do we want, what is currently the participants, the audience, what are currently the jobs that they carry out, what are the tasks, what are the jobs that they do, what are they expected to do after the program, okay, and therefore what are the gaps. Second stage is what we call audience analysis. So in audience analysis, what we say is that this particular audience, what is their level of understanding currently? For this particular level of understanding, from here, considering this particular level of understanding based on the qualification and the kind of experience that they have had, how do we need to, in a staggered manner, take them to the level that we want them to achieve, to the new level of understanding, keeping the audience perspectives in mind. What are their motivations therefore? And having done the task analysis and audience analysis and being able to identify, we then start looking at the content and methodology. So methodology is not about fun and games and a little bit of cards and a little bit of standing and talking some interesting things on the podium. No, methodology is one which helps learning be more effective. So therefore we are looking at content design. Remember that therefore the learning program designer should be able to understand the content depth, and also choose methodologies so that the learning program is more effective. having done this, the last part of it, which is there are some defined objectives. Against those objectives, what are the measures? How is the participant post the program provided hand-holding and coaching so that his behaviors, his identified behaviors can change and he can therefore deliver outcome on the job. I have seen a lot of faculty talk of, a lot of trainers talk of learning means one psychometric profile plus a game plus some content, and that's it. This is the recipe for a great program with an excellent feedback. I'm sorry, gentlemen, you might be getting a great program with an excellent feedback, but the objective of learning is fundamentally defeated. So yes, that's not a professional approach at all. I've also seen a lot of people accumulate several certifications to justify that they are great in learning. But no, again, certification has got nothing to do with learning. Learning has all to do with deep understanding of content, methodology, audience, job, and being able to therefore craft out the learning solution. Understand that different companies, depending on the size that they are in, may require different things. So if you are trying to cover the topic of strategy for a small organization with 200 employees, which is in only one particular industry and largely 3 or 4 clients, that's a very different thing. But if you're talking strategy with a diversified large conglomerate with over 30,000 employees globally dispersed, that's a very different thing. So understand that without doing a good design or spending sufficient amount of time on design, never try to attempt a learning program. A learning program can only be successful if the learning solution design is good. When the design is good, that's when you start looking at and to do the design, spend adequate amount of time in defining what are all the gaps that you can see from the knowledge perspective of the audience, from the behavioral perspective of the audience, from the skills perspective of the audience, from what is the present level of task that they carry out, what is the future level of task they are going to do. For example, a company which is trying to grow from 100 crore to a 10,000 crore company has to have fundamental learning solutions to be designed so that the scale can be changed and people can start thinking as like a large company rather than carrying out thinking of the small company in a large environment. Understanding all these is very critical, and a learning solution can be successful only when all these perspectives are inbuilt into it.